Welcome to the show Meet the Artist. My name is Emma. We are in Nashville, and today I have with me Paul Forte. He's a guitarist and vocalist, originally from the Pocono Mountains of northeast Pennsylvania, and he moved in Nashville 2019. Paul, welcome. Thank you for joining me to that show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Great to see you. You look great.
Yeah, you do. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen you for so long.
I know. What has it been since January about?
I don't know.
December or January? I can't remember. It's been a while. We've been in touch.
I have to come again on Mondays, like to the Bourbon Street and Blues bar that we've met. So you're going there and you perform with other artists, and that's how we met. You played guitar and you sing, and that's a great venue. Like I don't know if other people know about it. People sign their names and what they're playing, guitar, vocals, or bass, or drums, and then they just get together and they jam together, and you get to play with people you've never played before. And you do that every Monday, is that correct?
As many Mondays as I can. I mean, this is a free plug for Corey Mack. Corey Mack is awesome. He's the guy who runs the jam normally at Bourbon Street Blues. He basically, you can call it like there's pickup games of basketball. This is like a pickup game for musicians and for blues musicians, blues rock musicians, funk musicians. And it's just a chance to network with people. And I've met some of the greatest musicians I've met in town through that jam, and I've gotten a lot of exposure there too. So thank you, Corey, for hooking us all up, all the people that show up to the jam. And it's cool because you don't necessarily know who you're going to get to play with. So, you show up, you get on stage, you don't know what song you're going to play, you don't know who you're going to play with. You don't, it could be someone's first time ever showing up to a jam. It could be like, you could be with one of the regulars. Could show up with a friend there. You might get to play with them. It's all up in the air. And that's what's really cool about it, because it puts you in situations where it's never the song. This is what I say to everybody who doesn't know. The song at a jam is going to be played like that. It's going to be played like that one time. It's never going to be played the same with the same group of people. And there's something magical about that, because everybody has a different interpretation as to what you're trying to throw down. If I throw down like a funky groove or something, the drummer might have a different interpretation than the last drummer as to how he wants to play it, where he wants to throw in his fills and everything, and the bass player might play a little different. That's what's beautiful about it, and that's what's inspiring too. And it keeps you on your toes, and it keeps that live muscle working rather than sticking in the studio all the time or writing in your book all the time, trying to figure out lyrics. It keeps the muscles strong, which is what I like about it. And it's every Monday, so you get to do that. What's your Monday morning like, or your Monday night like? That's what I say to all my all the people that I have 9 to 5s.
Yeah,
it's like, what's your Monday night like? This is what mine's like.
The best.
It's the best. It's great.
I know. That's a great show, but it gets a lot of talent. You have to be very strong just to get to the stage and don't know what is coming and just perform with other people, which we did. And I think that's the greatest practice. And every time I go, I'm really impressed from the talent that I see. You just see people sitting around you, and then they go and play amazing guitar. And when we performed together, I sang a song and you played an amazing guitar. You didn't know the song, but you just fill in perfectly. You played the solo. are from Pennsylvania, but your last name reminds me something else. Where are you originally from? Are you Italian?
I am Italian, yeah.
Okay.
If that wasn't made clear, my family, I'm mostly Italian on my mother's side and my father's side. Mainly my father's side, they moved to the States after World War II, and my dad was born here, and they opened an Italian restaurant like every other Italian family that moved here, and it's been a big part of my life. We live pretty close to my grandmother on my dad's side, and I could imagine probably once a week we go over there for Italian Sunday sauce or a fettuccine Alfredo.
That's great.
And it was really nice. It was a chance for family to get together and everything. So family was instilled in me pretty strong back then on both sides of my family. I mean, with tradition and spending time with each other, doing events and all that stuff. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
You born in US, you still keep the traditions and everything. And how did you get into the blues music though? I mean, your parents are Italian, they have different cultures. I've been to Italy like 3-4 times. I don't know if they're too big on blues music. How did you start getting into that?
Well, so my father and my mother instilled really great music in me when I was younger and growing up. I was listening to everything from Stevie Ray Vaughan to Billy Joel to Lynyrd Skynyrd to Aerosmith. I was listening to everything. And I actually, before I got here, I was on the phone with my father and I was talking to him. I said, hey, I'm going to do this podcast, talk about music stuff. And growing up, we'd have long drives. We lived in the middle of nowhere. So to get to anywhere, it was a half hour at least to see a movie, to go to the mall or go get a nice bite to eat. And I remember we'd be in the car and we'd be playing the game. I'm sure a lot of people could relate to this, where you're like, oh, name this band or name this song. And sooner than later, I was knowing just as much as he did by the time I was like 14, 15. So it was things like that, or, when we would be hanging out, I lived near a lake. So when we'd be out on the lake or near the lake, we'd be listening to all these bands and this just giant playlist on my dad's iPod at the time with all these rock bands, all these blues bands. And it's always been a part of my life. And I just remember one day asking my dad to take me to a guitar shop with my uncle who played guitar. My dad didn't play guitar. My mother didn't play guitar. There's some musical background here and there with my mother, but it was kind of me. I had done theater through high school, and I was like, you know what? I want to try guitar. I feel like it'd be a cool extension of me as a performer. So that's when I was like, hey, Dad, take me to a guitar shop so I can look at getting one.
How old were you by then?
I learned to play pretty late compared to a lot of people that I know. I started playing when I was 15. That's
not too late.
I mean, I went to school with kids that started playing when they were like 6. It's all relative. And I mean, there's no race. Everybody has a different time span as to when they start learning. And then as they grow, they have different interpretations, which is what's special about it, really.
Yeah. So you started, you went to the store, you bought your first guitar, and then did you start learning by yourself or?
Yeah, I mean, my uncle had taught me a few things to get me started. And then what actually caught my attention wasn't blues music at first. It was rock band Green Day. Green Day was punk rock, and I wasn't advanced enough to learn the blues stuff yet. And I didn't necessarily have an attraction towards it just yet to learn. It was more so the spectacle, because I had been doing theater, and I fell in love with theater and choir and being in band in high school. So for that to be an extension of me, I wanted to be jumping around on stage, and it was not scripted, but it was a controlled chaos. So I could be on stage playing chords and have the band behind me and then getting the audience going and everything. So that's what was really important to me first, was the showmanship of it. And
that's amazing.
Creating a spectacle and taking people away from their, whatever nonsense they got going on in their lives, whether it be, at the time it was homework, bad day at school. And now it's like everybody's got their 9 to 5s they're working, or their, BS job, or whatever relationship issues they got going on. They can come to a show, and I just want to take them away from it, all that nonsense, for 15 minutes. If I could do it for 15 minutes to 2 hours, then it feels good to me. Because, all of my stuff now, especially, is pretty emotional music and very in touch with me. So that performance for me, if it inspires somebody to have a good time and smile, or even more so, like someone to pick up a guitar, that's where it comes from for me. That's the joy in it for me. That's what I love about it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So you're moving in Nashville 2019.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you take that decision?
So I originally wanted to go to college for theater, and my senior year I decided that I didn't want to be auditioning the rest of my life with scripts and waiting on callbacks in that realm, and I wasn't ready for it. So I was trying to figure out where I belonged, or an avenue I could take that was a little bit safer. And my mom was insistent on me going to college. So I found a love in audio engineering when I was in my band in high school. A buddy of ours took us in, who was going to University of the Arts in Philadelphia. And he's like, yeah, I got all this recording equipment now. You guys want to come over and record a couple songs? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I had been playing for maybe a year and a half. So that was learning how all this worked, different mic placements, all the recording equipment, whether it be on the computer or in the house. It was like, okay, this is a lot of stuff, but it's really cool. So I had decided my senior year I wanted to learn more about it. There was no real way for me to learn about it in my small hometown other than getting out of there. So I decided one day I went for a job shadow and heard about Belmont University. And I said to my mom, hey, I'm looking at this school in Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee. And she said, Nashville? You're not moving all the way to Nashville. And, she was like not happy about it at first. Not so much for the fact that it was the school that I was going to. It was just more so me being so far away. And then after a while, she warmed up to the idea. And next thing you know, we come down here and visit. I loved it, and she loved it, and she thought it was a great opportunity for me to get out of my small hometown where there wasn't a whole lot of potential for me there to grow and become the person that I'm meant to be. So sign the papers or whatever the hell you do now.
I love that.
And then come August of 2019, I was down here pretty much by myself and trying to figure it all out. And it was great. It's been a wild experience that I couldn't have ever imagined having 10 years ago when I was in high school, or it's really been a life-changing experience for me, musically and growing as the man I'm meant to be,
Of course,
Yeah.
Because you had to be by yourself, first of all. Second, you had to play and meet the most talented musician, because Nashville is the music city. There are a lot of talented musicians. So you did study at Belmont.
I did, yeah.
So what did you study? Audio engineering?
Audio engineering, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I went there, and it was more of a complacency thing. I wasn't confident enough in my music ability, because in my town, I was the only one that was my age, really, for the most part. Give or take, like there were a couple bands, but there was no music scene for me there, and there wasn't any room to really grow there starting out. I had to basically create my own gigs, and it was like throwing parties, or someone was having a graduation party, like, oh, you want me to play there? Yeah, cool. Or school events where there was a talent show, or we held benefits and everything. So I'd be like, yeah, I'll play there, I'll do that, and I'll play next to this band or this DJ or whatever it was. So by the time I got here, I didn't necessarily have a muscle to compare to a lot of these kids who were in New York, LA, Florida, Texas, and they went to these conservatories or they had a family with a heavy music background. I was kind of starting this out by myself at 15 until it got here when I was 18. And at that point, I was learning as much as I can, digesting as much as I can, or as I could for what I had. But I was very thankful. And this was an important part going into it. COVID happened and a lot of us got sent home from college.
That was my next question, because I moved here 2020.
Yeah. Oh.
And it was during COVID.
Wow.
So I've seen how Nashville was. Everybody was at the house. There were no events. So you moved right before that.
I moved in August of 2019, and then I think we got sent home in the middle of March, right after the tornado. It was a wild week because, the tornado hit. We were all like, a lot of us had never had anything like that happen before. Mm-hmm. And then it was like 3 or 4 days later, spring break, and then they're like, okay, you guys aren't coming back now because we have to shut down the school because of COVID and everything shut down. It's one thing when you're a kid and you're like, your school's shut down, but it's another thing when the world shuts down and you're an 18-year-old and you're like looking at the adults like, what do we do? And they're like, we don't know. And that was at that moment, I said to my mom, I was like, I just realized something. You don't know what the hell you're doing either, do you?
Nobody knew.
No one knows. Well, no one knows at all. But
there's worse. I was from a different country coming here during
so
COVID.
you moved into the States during COVID?
No, right before 19.
Okay, 19.
I moved to the United States.
Okay.
And then here.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was interesting.
Quite a welcome, wasn't it?
Yes. So I can feel exactly how you felt, because it was also, it's saying, so I can imagine how hard it was. But then things are opening up. Then you start performing. How did you see the blues scene in Nashville since things opened up? Because I know Nashville is mostly country. Mm-hmm. And you need to find the places they have really good blues artists, because there are a lot. Mm-hmm. There are not too many venues that have blues specifically. So I want to hear your opinion, because I'm sure you know more than me on blues, seeing like what's going on in Nashville. Do you think it's enough places play blues, enough artists?
I kind of moved here with the mindset that there's no way in hell I was ever going to play country music. And I hated country music, to be honest with you. I just didn't like it. But I found a love for it, and it shaped my playing in some way. But I always knew deep down that I found my passion in something different, which was blues, rock, funk, soul. I like to say things like Otis Redding, or Sam and Dave with a ZZ Top twist, like a little bit of a New Orleans seasoning on top.
Right.
But to find those venues, it's like, you got to go outside of where you see a lot of the videos from when your friends come and visit. You got to go outside of where you're seeing all those videos. Because, I work downtown as a barback, and I did audio video down there. And I've played downtown on Broadway. And it's a different vibe than what I'm necessarily looking for. Of course, there's like big audiences and everybody's drunk having a good time. But to find those venues, you got to look other places. East Nashville is very rich in a variety of music. And I remember one of the first times I went to East, which we are in now currently.
Yeah.
My buddy, Tom Monfordini, is a guitar tech for Guthrie Trapp. And helps him with his gear and helps roadie him with a bunch of stuff, with his amp and everything. And Tom one day said, let's go see Guthrie play. You have to see him play. He's awesome. And I was like, okay, cool. I didn't even know what I was in for. I was just thinking like, okay, Nashville session guitar player, probably is going to play some, country vibe guitar. And it was at the Underdog, which is Guthrie helped coin as the guitar bar. It's awesome spot, nothing like Broadway. It's not the same vibe, which is cool. Kind of feels like a hometown bar. And I saw Guthrie play, and I was like, okay, so there's a scene here other than country.
Yes.
His was more of a roots, it was a combination between, he had some country picking in it, but it was mainly roots. It was blues, it was jazz, it was funky. It had even a New Orleans flair to it. It had even a Latin flair to it. He's a monster on the guitar, and really inspired me. And it was like, okay, so you can create, if there's not a scene, you can at least create one. And so for the music that you want to do, and he'd be filling up that venue and having people like out the door waiting to get in, which was super cool. So I saw him play at least 10 times.
Wow.
And that was the first point. And it took me a while to find Bourbon Street Blues, which is what we were talking about before. And then there's other spots like the Bowery Vault. And then there's rooms like the Basement and a lot of other spots that are showcasing these artists that do rock, that do soul, that do pop.
Right.
So coming to Nashville and feeling like it was more country, I wanted to believe that there was room for something else. And I found there is. You can find a pocket for yourself in this town, especially if you're not a country artist, because it's a different sound. If you're a blues musician, it's a different sound than country. There's elements that are the same, but you can find a pocket where you can sit there and have an audience show up for you. And people don't always want to listen to country music. There are people that want to listen to rock music. There are people that want to listen to rap, hip hop, and that's all here. You just got to find it.
Yes.
It's really cool. It's really
I
awesome.
agree. And I think as the year passed, we have more genres like blues or jazz become bigger, or pop, because people from other towns are moving to Nashville. So I feel like the scene's getting bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really happy about that. And I love blues. So you are an electric guitar player, you're a singer, and you studied audio engineering. What are your plans? Do you want to work as an audio engineer, as a guitarist, perform with singers, or you just want to do your own shows by singing or writing your own music? What are your goals?
Well, so I've been able to develop a great network of people and a lot of great people looking out for me in this town that are doing the things that I want to do. And obviously, I want to be a blues musician. I want to have my own thing that I do. But I want guitar to be eventually, the thing that keeps me afloat. And keeping a toe in a road gig that goes out on the weekends or goes out for a couple of months here and there. That's something that's always been on my mind. And I know, like, aside from playing the blues stuff, I'm always out subbing for bands live, or in sometimes Broadway, sometimes last week I was in Knoxville with a great band called Platinum Moon. They have me sub in, and I've been friends with them for years. And they just gave me a call one day. They're like, "Hey, we've been seeing you play a lot live lately on Instagram. You cool with subbing in for a gig in Knoxville?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So last Wednesday we were in Knoxville, and that was fun. Or doing recording sessions. I showed up to a collaborative R&B, hip-hop production songwriting event a couple years ago where I met probably 50 to 100 R&B, soul, hip-hop, rap artists in Nashville. And we all worked together to make all these songs and had a great time. And I was able to network with those people. And I played with probably 4 or 5 different artists just from that collaborative event in their live shows. And it was great. I don't like to pigeonhole myself in one genre for playing guitar.
Right.
I do it for singing because for me, I want to sing what means something directly to me and that I could feel, because I want to feel the music. And I feel like if I feel it, then I can sell it to the audience more, and then they can feel it too.
Yes, I agree.
I'm not going to sing country music because I don't necessarily feel all those things. But with heartbreak and everything, and I'm a hopeless romantic when it comes to love, finding that person, of course. So blues music to me has always been that thing. I feel like it's the one genre, blues, soul, where a man can truly express all of his emotions and do it unapologetically without being like, "Oh, God, that's cringy." That's just me, though. But, like, to answer your question, I want to be hopping on the road with a band here and there, have those calls that I get, like, hey, are you able to come on the road with us this time to this time? Absolutely, I'd love to. And then when I'm home, play shows for people in town and maybe a couple venues here and there for my own stuff and doing recording sessions and stuff. And I feel like I've been very thankful and very lucky to be able to do it as much as I have. It's weird when you're 15 in your bedroom and then all of a sudden people are asking how much you want to get paid for it. You know that feeling?
Yeah.
Isn't it weird? It's like I was doing this in
and
high
they're
school.
all great musicians, right?
Yeah.
So you got to play with great musicians and meet them. But you said you prefer playing songs that you feel.
Yeah.
Can you tell me some songs that you have that feeling?
So back over COVID, I'm going to go back a little bit just to explain if that's okay.
Oh, that's totally okay.
Over COVID, like I said, we got sent home, and this is an important part to my musical journey. Is there is a man by the name of Scott Weiss. He was a musician who played throughout the 80s with bands like White Snake and tons of 80s bands. It was an 80s shredder,
Right.
but he's got just an incredible ear. And after the 80s and as the 90s and 2000s rolled around, he started playing more blues. And he played with people like B.B. King and everything. And I didn't know this about him. He was my T-ball coach at one point when I was like little kid. So he's known me for a long time. But COVID rolled around and he knew I was playing guitar. So he asked me to work at a guitar shop that he was working at. So I learned how to, work on guitars and amplifiers and guitar gear.
That's good to learn.
Yeah, of course. With the audio
Nice.
engineering degree, it was great. I put that on a resume, when I was looking for audio gigs.
Yeah.
And I remember watching Scott play for the first time, and he blew my mind with how he was able to go to a different place and felt like somewhere not on earth when I'd see him play and sing. Felt like he was feeling every bit, every word, and every note that he was playing and singing. And that was something that I was chasing for a long time. And through him and someone else he knew, Al Petrelli, who's the musical director for the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, they taught me.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I was very lucky to meet these people
amazing.
because Al was one of my heroes. Trans-Siberian Orchestra was my Christmas music growing up. Thanks, Dad.
I've watched them here in Nashville.
Oh, they're great.
They're
great.
amazing.
And
yeah.
I mean, Scott and Al together, they taught me the fundamentals of what I needed to know to create good music, but also enough to the point where it didn't feel like I was doing more math than feeling the music and creating. I'm not a theory nerd by any means, but they taught me, especially Al taught me to the point where I could find my way through any song, and Scott taught me how to feel my way through every song. And Scott gave me the best piece of advice to this day. At the time, I was dating a girl since high school, and he said, you might not know it yet, and you're going to have a lot of things happen to you throughout your life that are going to change you, and nothing's permanent. And that's going to grow you as a man, but while your life is going to grow you as a man, your life is going to grow you as a musician too. And that's going to turn you into the musician that you're meant to become. Because I was always complaining about how I couldn't feel like how you're feeling right now. He's like, well, I'm 50-something and you're early 20s. Like, you shouldn't be feeling these things right now. But as you get older and as life happens, you're going to grow as a musician. You're going to start to feel those things. And you're going to be able to go to that place that you talk about that feels something between heaven and earth.
Right. I agree with that 100%. The experience helped to become a better musician and also a better singer. I feel like you sing with more passion and with better feelings as you get hurted or have difficulties in life, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, all the blues songs I sing, it's like one of the lyrics is like, my car got repossessed this morning, hard times I haven't seen in years, or my favorite one is a song by Sam and Dave that was the first song that Scott ever pulled me up to play with him. And it's still one of my favorite songs to sing this day. It's a song called When Something's Wrong With My Baby. And the lyrics, again, it's like, they're so simple, and in any other genre, they'd sound really cringy. But in blues, it's like, when something's wrong with my baby, something's wrong with me. And I felt that so much, being a hopeless romantic as I am. It's like, if I know she's worried, I'd feel the same misery. It sounds really cliche, but when you sing it with passion and you feel it, and you have the guitar to back you up and also carry out that emotion. There's no other feeling other than that. And you know what that feeling's like, and you're singing it, and then the audience hears it, and they know what that feeling's like. There's this really special feedback effect going on between me and the audience. And
they can also feel in the same, because I'm sure they have been there during their lives.
Exactly. And that's what caught my attention when I was playing with Scott and I heard that song for the first time. There's something that I just don't get out of any other genre other than blues that does that for me.
Something is wrong with my baby. I tell you something's wrong, but something's wrong with me, yeah. When something is wrong with my baby, yeah, Lord, I tell you something's wrong, something's wrong with me, yeah. If my love, if she's worried now, Lord, she's going out alone. I'll be the same misery. We've been through so much together. We stand as one and that's love. Something's wrong with me. Just one dog, I tell you what she means to me, Lord. Lord, you wouldn't understand. People can't say that she ain't no good, Lord. Nah, she's my little woman. And if she always she's got a problem.
As you grow, those songs create different meaning for you too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Which is so special about music. You don't get that with anything else. It's like watching a TV show when you're a kid. Like I remember watching 2.5 Men with my dad, and my mom would like get mad because I'm 6 years old watching Two and a Half Men with my dad. But like laugh, like the audience laughs, so you laugh, and you're like entertained as a kid. And then you start like, I'm back watching that again. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I watched that. It has a whole different meaning now. But music is similar in that way, but for obvious reasons, different too. It grows with you, and it grows with you for the rest of your life, which is special.
You grow with it too. So I have another question now that it's different. When we're talking, you mentioned that you do write music. So you do have that part. You haven't published some songs yet. But if you want to talk about it, we're not going to play that tonight because you want to, release them first.
Yeah, stay tuned, folks.
Stay tuned. Yeah. About the songs that you write, I want you to tell me when the inspiration comes to you, like usually. Mm-hmm. You said you're hopeless romantic. Is it coming?
Yeah.
I believe that it's coming in moments that you feel this way, or is it other? What is usually your inspiration writing a song?
I remember being in college and professors telling, like, with regards to advice for songwriting, they would say, like, professional songwriters don't wait for a feeling. They just start writing. And for me, that's always been hard. And I don't consider myself a professional songwriter at all. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't want to say I'm fairly new to it because I've been going at it for a while, but I'm developing that voice for that, just like you develop your guitar voice or your singing voice. The inspiration comes to me, at any point in the day, and it could be at work, it could be when I'm out on a walk, it could be when I'm out with my friends. There's just always a feeling, and since it's, I write blues music, it's, not trying to sound depressing or anything, but, if I feel like, not, if I'm out of it a little bit, if I'm out with my friends, I'll get that feeling, or, drive home from work, I'll get that feeling of like, just, you're thinking about a lot of stuff. And I'm an overthinker too, which could be a superpower.
I think everybody.
Right. I think people need to tap into that more, because that could be a superpower in some way. You're thinking about things all the time. If you can't stop thinking, you got to start writing some shit down, right? And, it'll just come to me at a moment where, and I'll feel it. Sometimes I'll be at work, and I work at a bar, so I'll just feed out some empty receipt paper and I'll write it down. And then I'll take a picture of it because, handwriting is more engaging for me and it's easier to keep track of. I'll write it down and I'll take a picture of it and then rip it up so no one can find it, and then throw it in the trash. And then
no, you have to keep those.
Well, okay, I mean, it's cool. I got the picture of them. It's fine. Good. It's easy to.
Maybe one day, they will sell this paper for so much money when you become really famous.
All right. Well, I got some of them. I'll find them and I'll keep them. But it's like I'm good friends with a lot of great songwriters whom I met through working on Broadway, that work for musicians that are playing on Broadway, and they show up and see them, and I get to meet them. Especially when I was working AV, audio video, for some of the clubs down there. And my one good friend said to me, you can write, he writes a ton of songs a week. I mean, I think he said he's written like 50 in a week. And
oh my God.
Yeah, he's amazing, and he writes great music, and he's written for some amazing artists. And he's like, probably about 45 of those will be terrible. 5 of them will be okay, and maybe I'll get one good one out of that.
Yeah, but that's his perspective.
Of course. I mean, everybody's is different. I mean, there's some people like, Ed Sheeran just cranks out songs, but you also have to think behind the scenes. I'm sure there are some that he's like, yeah, that one's a good one. But the idea is you got to keep writing, and that's what he's been trying to tell me, is you got to keep writing. You keep writing, and then you get all the junk out, and then you find, even if it's just one stanza or one line that's inspiring, you got to write it. You got to finish that. And don't finish it for the sake of finishing it and rushing it and turning a good idea into a terrible song. Write, and with the intention on, okay, I am filtering out and I am writing everything down so that way I get all those ideas out there and then maybe another good line will come up. And sometimes some songs write themselves, for sure. But, you can't rush a song, finishing a song for the sake of finishing it. And so that way it's done and it's out of your hair.
No.
That was a great piece of advice he told me. And
I agree. And you also need to find your sound and
yeah, exactly.
make sure that the song represents who you are and how you want other people to see you. Do you remember any lyrics of like the song that you wrote lately?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I have a couple of lines I can throw out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking. Again, none of this is released yet, but at least there's now video and audio evidence that I did it.
Okay.
Not gonna put it out there, but like, I mean, it's like there's one that sticks out to me right now. Like I was seeing a girl for a lot of last year, and I felt like the relationship was in limbo a lot, and I didn't quite know where I stood in a lot of it because it was an off and on thing, and I really cared about this person, and I still do. And I remember writing a lyric that was like, I feel like I'm halfway between heaven and hell. And I said it out loud to that particular songwriter. We were out, and I was like, he's like, how's the relationship going? Like, what's going on with that? And I said to him, I feel like I'm halfway between heaven and hell. He's like, that's a song right there. That's a song title if I ever
It is.
And he's like, I wish I came up with that one. Or, another one that I've had for a while that I've been, again, not rushing, but I've been writing consistently for it is being in my early 20s. It's like you're growing and you experience heartbreak and you experience disappointment and things other than relationships, like romantic relationships. It's like these growing pains are killing me. That's another one. Or the bricks in my walls that I put up, or like ideas. As you experience trauma in relationships, you put up walls and you're on the defense for your emotions and how you feel. And so you put up walls.
Everybody does this.
Yeah. And then, one day you meet somebody and you start to take the bricks out of your wall. And then maybe one day they decide to show you their wall. And then just as you can see through the bricks that you took out, you see their wall and it's bigger than yours. And then now you got to pull back a little bit and be like, okay, like what's going on here? And that's, I think a lot of people, if I'm conveying this properly, a lot of people can understand that feeling of being like, you feel like things are going good. You start to take those bricks out and then all of a sudden someone show your hand, your cards, and then all of a sudden they pull away and you're like, oh, well, that hurt. And then you gotta try and regain your composure and be like, oh, all right, well, that's that's heartbreaking, and that's that can rock your world a little bit sometimes. Do you feel what I'm talking about, or am I?
100%.
Okay, good.
100%. I feel.
I'll finish the song then.
Yes, I'm gonna listen to it. And when you release the songs, we're gonna do a new podcast, and you're gonna talk for every song that you released, the story behind it.
Of course, I'd love to do that.
And I want you to keep the
receipt paper,
the receipts from the bar.
Yeah, I will.
Please.
I'll start doing that.
Don't throw it. That's really important.
I'll keep it in. I'll grab a to-go box from the kitchen and just hide them in there and just write "Do not open" or something like that. Or,
yes.
Something like that.
You can lock it so nobody can steal the ideas.
Yeah, I'll need a heftier to-go box then, but one not made out of paper and cardboard.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. I'll save them and we'll bring them in. How about that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna open the box here.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We'll do that.
Yes, we're gonna do that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I also saw on your bio that you try to combine blues and modern sounds.
Yeah.
Do you have like artists that you have in your mind that they combine like the old blues style with modern tones and modern style?
Well, I'm sure people listening are going to think I'm going to say John Mayer because he's one of those people, and he's an inspiration to me. But he's not a huge one for me. One of them being Scott Weiss, and I really encourage anybody listening to listen to what he's got because he is a monster guitar player, and he's he's amazing at painting a picture in the studio too. And he's talked about, bringing strings in for acoustic songs, and just singing melodies is like going off a vibe, truly.
Right.
But Scott's one of those people who combines that old sound with like a really powerful voice, and a guitar that sounds like it's blowing up, like a heavy guitar sound, like a ZZ Top sound, and he'll roll it back a little bit to clean it up a little bit, and then does this thing. And I don't want to say I coined this term, but I like to think of it this way, where the song kind of develops like you see a flower blooming, like with a time lapse of a flower blooming, how you could see it growing, and then all of a sudden it blows up into this beautiful thing.
All right.
And like where it's like full bore and the guitar is super loud. I'd say another band, a band out of Wales that I found, actually I found the guitarist on YouTube. His name is Chris Buck. He's a big inspiration to me, very vocal guitar player. And his band does that same thing. There's a song, I think it's called Tied Up in Blue. It's a long song. It's at least 5 minutes. I think it might be like 7 minutes, where the song just starts whisper quiet with the singer and the guitar player, and then all of a sudden the drums come in really quiet, and then the rest of the band, and then it blooms up into this full bore rock sound. It starts off like blues, soulful, really
Cool.
like.
So they combine two different genres too.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I like to think of the sound that I'm chasing after as a 60s, 70s R&B, and like a little bit of like I love Alicia Keys and a lot of other R&B stuff from the 90s and early 2000s. I like thinking of combining that with almost like a ZZ Top sound, or Kenny Wayne Shepherd rock sound, where the song can start whisper quiet and then bloom, or start full bore and then kind of turn into a jam a little bit with a little bit of New Orleans flair. Because I love another artist like Tab Benoit, New Orleans blues artist, does a great power trio where he'll do a lot of covers like Otis Redding. He'll do These Arms of Mine, and then it'll kind of blow up. Scott does the same thing. I want the song to be an experience where everybody's like, whoa, like that came from like down here to up here, and then it went down here a little bit at one point during the bridge, and then resolved super nicely. It felt like a journey,
Right.
without being as long as Freebird, but like with the intention of like, or without being as long as Stairway to Heaven, but with that same like dynamic,
Right.
Think of the flower blooming.
But I feel like that's also like how life is.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe music needs to be like, you need sometimes that is quiet in the song, like a little bit louder, a little bit less loud.
Mm-hmm.
But I love when people do that on their songs and their production. And that's also how everything else is. So as you write and you're inspired from your life, then you put that on your songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like those dynamics are really important.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to listen to songs that are gonna have those dynamics. And we usually play a song during the podcast, at the end of the podcast, but you're playing electric guitar, and it's different with you playing with the band.
Yeah, that's the full experience. And I mean, I play acoustic, but I'm not like an acoustic player.
I know. But that's why, because we don't have a band here.
I don't know if we could fit one.
Unless we can invite people.
I got some calls I can make.
Yes. So the other option is we can take the cameras and come where you're playing.
Yeah.
And film a part and close with that, and close with the performance that you're doing with your full band, and so the plays you're playing.
I am the most myself when I am on stage with a band. I'm the most vulnerable. You get to see every part of me. You hear all my mistakes, even though, like, you might not believe they're mistakes, maybe. A lot of people can't tell, but I can tell. But you get that. You see me for who I am 100% when I'm on stage. There's no smoke and mirrors. It's just me.
Yes.
Which is...
And I've seen you.
Yeah, I've seen you too.
Yeah, I know. We performed together.
Right next to you, actually.
Exactly.
We got to do that again.
Yes. I have to... When we bring the cameras, I will perform too.
Let's do it. Absolutely.
Yes.
And we gotta catch you at the Bowery Vault soon on a Wednesday. That's a great spot. I mean, I'm hoping to do something there where it's, I put a build together, and you got to come up for that for sure.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Okay, sure. I will invite the crew with the cameras. Let's go to the show. Let's go to film team. They're
Sounds
laughing.
Good.
Do you have anything else, like an advice to artists that are coming into Nashville? They're playing blues, anything, last thing that you want to say?
I went to college with mostly musicians, and I feel like a lot of them struggle to keep that passion going. And what you got to remember is that it's a passion, and you cannot give up on passion. You can't. You're gonna, like, I've had moments where and you're gonna have moments every couple months, at least once a year. And it can last a couple days. It can last most of the year, where you're wondering, like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this while you're working your bartending or barback job, or your restaurant gig, or you're working your 9 to 5. You got to remember that, you bring people different kind of joy when you do that. Everybody. You got to work at that passion, and you got to stick with it. And there's no time frame as to when you're going to pop, if you're ever going to pop. But you got to remember that, it started with you. You were doing this for you. So continue to do it for you, because it's a big part of who you are. And while, like me, while I'm getting my ass kicked on a Saturday night at a bar, slinging beer, stocking beer, or, handing off a bottle of Tito's to my bartender, or taking out trash, remember that life is full of ups and downs, just like your music. And the life experience that you experience will help make you the musician that you're supposed to be. All those ups and downs. So stick with it, and don't give it up for anything.
Wow, that is amazing. And it's funny that every artist I have asked so far, they keep saying the same thing without knowing that each person's saying the same thing. And I feel a relief listening that, because I struggle sometimes too. Every artist I feel struggle, and they have second thoughts. And because music industry is hard and it's very competitive. But as long as you play with your heart, and you believe in yourself, and you don't listen to anybody else that have different ideas, and you just have your goals.
Yeah, that's another thing. Be different. I mean, I get told all the time. I've been told, you gotta sound like this, you gotta sound like that, and I started to try to on stage. And I remember Scott called me one day. I sent him a video. He was like, "Hey, I just played this gig," and he's like, "Stop trying to sound like all those chicken picking MFers or whatever." He's like, "You need to sound like Paul. So sound like Paul, and people will come to you to sound like you." And it's another thing. Don't be a number 2. Be a number 1. Be the first. There's a lot of people trying to sound like Morgan Wallen, and he's great. And there's a lot of people that are trying to sound like John Mayer, and he's great. But be the first. Be the first one to do that. Do what you're trying to do. And you will always be a number 1.
Yes. Yeah. That takes, you have to be risky.
You have to be risky, and you have
a
to...
lot of confidence.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of confidence, and it takes those days where you don't feel like you're going to be able to do it. But you remember you're doing it for you. And when you're creating and you're in front of an audience or you're recording, you're doing it for them too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for joining me again.
Of course.
I really appreciate it. I I loved your sound when you were playing. I believe you're very talented. I feel like everybody should go and follow Paul and listen to the shows and listen to the upcoming songs. And if you're in Nashville, you can go and listen to him, to the shows that he performs. But I really believe that you're gonna have a great career and you're gonna succeed to everything you're doing. We're gonna follow the end of that podcast with a video of you playing with your electric guitar and singing your favorite songs.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
Really.
you, Paul. How we say in Italian, thank you? Grazie. Oh, no,
Grazie.
gracias.
Grazie.
Grazie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Gracias. Buonanotte.
Buonanotte. Yeah. Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Again, subscribe, follow Paul, and stay tuned for the next episode.